the new house, and we got some fish. They're in the bucket here, as well as some bags that are in that tank. We will look at them. I will have to move some of this stuff over, and they just arrived. I actually just had to go pick them up from my partner's house. So these are grow out fish that we're growing out. How you doing, Sandy? And he was nice enough to separate them into two separate bags, and or bucket and a bag, and so they are separated. They are growing up. A lot of these guys are going to be going to the pet stores in the next couple of days to weeks, and so things are moving pretty well. If you are watching this right now, give this video a thumbs up, and if you're watching it on the replay, give it a thumbs up and comment below and let me know you're part of the replay crew. What's going on, Christina? What's going on, Chance? What's going on, Jelmer? And Sandy's here. Sandy's the first person here. She's always the most supportive out of the bunch. So I'm really grateful for you, Sandy. What's going on, Andre? What's going on, Steiner? How you doing? We got new fish. So this is a fish that I don't have in the facility. These are growouts. These are for pet stores. What's going on, Jamie? Thank you. Okay, we got a notification. YouTube. That's weird because I'm on YouTube. Hey, I'm trying my best. You know, sometimes it's not always the greatest, but I try my best. Okay, so things are gonna change quite a bit moving forward. What's going on, Top Nelly? L340, 397 is nice, but I'm pretty sure most of them are L2. Yeah, send me some pictures and I will confirm whether they are 397s or 002s. Usually they are quite similar fish, but 397s have a slightly different marking on the face. If you send me pictures, I can probably also send you pictures of both species so you can compare that as well and go from there. What's going on, Ubor? And Jonathan, how y'all doing? S. Getty Nona, what's going on? Greetings, greetings, how are you? Okay, so without further ado, let's put these fish into the tank. My pleasure. So essentially, what you want to do is that's what we're going to look at. So we picked up two separate species of fish. I don't have either of these species in the fish room. I did set up tanks for them yesterday, so these tanks are ready to go. The filters are seeded. They came from the old house, so they both have good dead loads of biological media. And I also got this small sponge filter that was in one of their tanks for additional seeding, as well as another seeded sponge filter. So these are not connected right now because I don't have an air pump. So I had to go and dig through the boxes and find an air pump after this live stream, hopefully, and then we can get in and get these going, the air pumps. But there's an adequate filtration for the moment because there's this power head. This is like what I run an entire tank, like my Zebra Pleco tank. This was actually not in the Zeb tank, but these are the same filters that are in the Zebra Pleco tanks right now, and there's only one of these running for about 45 Zebra Plecos, like my entire breeding group. So I'm not too worried about putting these guys into the tank. The water's been in here for about 4 days now, 3 or 4 days, and I also put some prime just to make sure that there's no chlorine or chloramine. Well, there's no chloramine in Brampton tap water, which is great. I'm really grateful for that. Chlorine there is quite a bit of, but it does evaporate within 24 hours. This water has been sitting for more than 48 hours for sure. I think it's more like 72 hours at this point. So I'm not too worried about there being any chlorine because I also added prime. And it's the same water the fish comes from. The fish are about 10-minute drive from where I am. That's where they were born and raised. And what's going on? Good morning. It's evening now, afternoon now, but good morning to you, sir. How are you, Joe? So without further ado, let's look at the fish we got and put them into some tanks. What do you guys want to see first, the catfish or the cichlids? Because we got two different species of fish and they're super cool. Like, I mean, super cool. What's going on, Ray? Haven't seen you in a couple of days. How you doing, buddy? So, yeah, what did I get? We're gonna see. let's try to move some of these buckets over so we can get in here. All right, let me catfish first. Okay, Sandy got dibs, so Sandy gets to see what she wants. There we go. All right, let me move some buckets over so I can make some space for you guys and girls. I wasn't gonna go live stream today, but I figured it's Sunday. I need to do it because I've been missing some of these, and you know, now we're getting back to the rhythm of things. So I really want to start doing more, not live streams per se, but more content for you guys and girls. So without further ado, yes, we are still using buckets. Okay, there we go. Here we go. So the first fish we got, let me try to get in there. They're in that bag. And I'll pull the bag up and show you guys and girls. So take a guess and tell me what they are, okay? If anybody can guess, tell me what they are. They're a type of catfish. What are they? Oh, they're really cool. There they are. They are a type of catfish. Okay? Very beautiful. I don't have these. Well, now it's the first time I got them in the fish room. So here we go. I'll open the bag and let them out. They've been temperature acclimatizing for a bit now. About 15 minutes or so. And the temperatures are quite similar in the bag and the tank. They came from another fish room, so obviously they were in decently warm water too. It's really warm here today, so. Leopard? They're not dwarf picoltias. No. Oh, dwarf petricolas. No, they're not dwarf petricolas. Cichlids, well, Joe, you're 2 seconds late, so Sandy gets to see the catfish, but we'll look at the cichlids next. They're leopard petricolas. Well, alright, without further ado, let me just put them in the tank and then I'll tell you what they are. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. Alright, there we go. And here we go. They're coming out. Super fun little cute little fish. Make sure there's nobody in the bag. And take a look. Let me try to get a light up in here for you guys and girls so we can see them clearly. Alright. Here we go. That didn't work out the way I planned. There we go. Here we go. There's a light. Can you guys see them? Things have not been set up yet. These tanks were just set up a couple of days ago. We're just getting started, so they are Lucipinus. Yes. They are Synodontis, yes. They're not Petricola, they're Lucipinus. There's 15 of them, I believe. And these guys are destined for a pet store in the coming several days. What's going on, Nonstop Aquatics? I know you know who bred them. That's the thing, we're dropping hints. So, what's going on, Marceleno? So, huge shout out to Nonstop Aquatics because he's doing some amazing stuff. So, if you guys are not following him on his Instagram and YouTube channels, I highly recommend subscribing and following along because there's some cool stuff that he's doing, and he has some cool gadgets and gizmos that he might show off that you guys might want to see. And yeah, I get inspired by what he does all the time. He finds these little cool knickknacks all the time, and I'm always jealous, you know. I'm always like, oh my god, you find the coolest stuff. So while you guys watch these beauties, I'm gonna go find a net to move the other fish into the other tank. Okay? So give me about 30 seconds. We need to have dedicated nets in each fish room. I think that's gonna make my life a lot easier because today I had to move about looking for nets all day, which was not fun. you know. All right. If you watch this right now, give this video a thumbs up. It helps me out quite a bit. And there we go. Fish easy. Ray has some guesses. Well, I'm not gonna say anything. If you figured it out, you figured it out. But for those who haven't, we will be doing a revealing party. Probably a live stream would happen with both of us on it. So that'll be fun. And there's 15 of these boys and girls in here, so that's super cool, super nice. All right, we're gonna switch over to the other side real quickly. And they get to about 4 inches if I'm not mistaken. You will get more information on these guys. When the person who bred them is here, you can ask questions. That would be next weekend. It's a guy who bred them. Yes, it is a guy who bred them. And yeah, how big do they get? Are they spotted? Yes, these guys are both. They have a few that do have some stripes, but a lot do seem to have spots. Yeah, they're spotted. Yes, they are spotted. They're really beautiful fish. I really like watching these guys. I've never had these in my life before, so I'm super excited to see them and have them in the fish room right now. It's the first time in my whole life I've ever had these fish. I've seen them like so many times. I just never because I don't keep African cichlids myself, so I've never had a reason to keep these guys because I don't have an African cichlid tank. If I did, I would probably keep some of these. But I'm super excited to have them right now because they are super cool little catfish. And so I want to give some information on the particular fish that we're looking at right now. These guys do really well in African cichlid tanks with medium-sized African cichlids. Some cichlids that get to about 5-6 inches, they would be fine with them. At this size, they're about 2.5 inches or so. Some of them are, you know, getting close to 3 inches. I wouldn't say I don't see any that are actually 3 inches yet. Majority of them are about 2.5 inches. There's a couple that are like 2 3/4, and then there's a couple that are like a little smaller at about 2 1/4 inch maybe. There's 1 or 2 that are like 2 inches. So they seem super happy. They're doing well so far, chasing each other around and doing their little fun stuff. They are fun, right? I will let you know, Jonathan. Okay, so keeping these guys, you want to keep them at a little bit higher pH. If they do good in African cichlid tanks, so 7.5, 8 pH would be good for them. I'm not 100% sure what pH they breed at, but they seem to do really well here in Toronto and in Brampton, where I'm at right now, which is like, you know, basically the suburb of Toronto, one of the suburbs of Toronto. And we have the same water, different municipalities, so the water, you know, different things happen to the water to get here, like the amount of chlorine being used or whatever might be slightly different. The amount of calcium carbonate they add to the water might be slightly different, but it's pretty similar to the water I had downtown. And the one thing I can tell you for sure is that, you know, the water in Toronto and basically Greater Toronto area is very conducive to keeping almost all kinds of fish. And African cichlids seem to do really well here. A lot of South American cichlids, South American fish do really well here in Toronto as well. So we are quite lucky because our water is not really hard or really soft. It's in the middle. So you might want to check your own water, and if you do have hard water, this is a species that will do really well for you. Okay, so there, you guys can look at that while I put the other fish into the tank, because there's not really much to watch me pouring fish into a tank. So let me do that first, and then get you guys and girls connected back and turned over. Okay. Just poured a bunch of water out of the bucket. Now I'm gonna net the fish because there's no other way to get them out of the bucket and into the tank. I prefer to just pour all the fish into the tank, but that is not gonna work today. Okay, turning over. And here we go. Voila. Second fish in the tank right now. And make sure there's nothing left over in the bucket. Okay. If I can try to get some of the water also into the tank. Can you see them? Oh, there they are. Okay, I'll put the light on in a second. Okay, give me like 30 seconds. Let me get the water out of the bucket. So this is the water they lived in, so I'm going to pour all of that in there as much as I can. There was no easy way to do this, so here we go. And we got it done. They're in the tank. Make sure there's nothing in the net or on the floor or anywhere. I don't like losing fish for human errors. You know, I if anything happens, natural causes, you know, disease and stuff, I don't like that either. But you know, I don't feel as bad if a fish dies because of a natural cause. Disease, I definitely would feel bad because that again is something I can prevent. But I definitely don't like losing fish for user error. Okay, so there's the new fish. These are cichlids. If anybody wants to take a wild guess what they are a South American cichlid. So let's put some light on here. Get these guys situated. There we go. And there we go. All right. Everybody seems to be hanging out. That's not a good sign, but I think they're just shocked by being in the tank. You know, like I just netted them. They probably got netted like a bit earlier. Try to get some of these bubbles off the glass so we can see them. These tanks are cycled. All the media and the filters, everything came from the old house. There's even snail eggs on the glass that are still viable. I don't know if you can see them right now through the camera lens, but there definitely is snail eggs that are still viable on the glass. So here, try to zoom out. Well, they're not doing much, so right now it's not much to see. But let's see if anybody took a guess about what they are. Yes, they are. Well, Jonathan has a how do you call it, a technical advantage because Jonathan knows who bred these fish, and that's how he knows what they are real quickly. But I mean, it's not too hard to look at the fish and determine what they are either. They're doing okay, and we're gonna walk around the house and look at other fish, and we'll come back and take a look at these guys in a little bit. I know you breed them. I know you breed them. That's why I know you know like what they are. And there's a Synodontis tank again. They seem to be doing great. They're moving about, very happy, doing well. They're in the same exact water. This water was filled at the exact same time. Both of these tanks were filled at the same date. So and they both have the same filters that I brought from my house, cycled, ready to go. Yeah, so that's what's going on over here. And so we're gonna move around the fish room or the house, I guess, and see what else is going on. Okay, so let's do that. While these guys get acclimatized, I'm gonna turn off the light in here so that they don't stress too much. There we go. Sorry about getting so close to my face. There we go. And let's go look at the Zeb tank. So today they're doing great. There's over 40 zebra plecos in this particular tank. You can see I'm using the exact same filters. This one over here is not plugged in. This one is plugged in because that was causing a lot of heat. So I wanted to reduce the heat. I just unplugged it. And I turned the AC on as well in the house because it got really hot today. There's the other zebra pleco tank. Alright. You know, not much to see, just pleco tanks, but there's more fun stuff happening in the other rooms, which we will go and see. Okay. If you're watching this right now, give it a thumbs up. It helps me out quite a bit. Alright, this room is starting to look real nice. Coming together. I want to share something with you guys and girls that happened today. It wasn't in this bucket particularly. You see how I have all the caves in here? So this is how I transported. What's going on, Seabrook Lego fans? This is how I transported all the fish. And apparently, somehow I missed one of my big spot ancestors in one of the caves. So we brought those over last week Thursday. No, 2 weeks ago Thursday actually. So they've been here for 2 weeks now. The spotted ancestors. I think they're I forgot the species name, but I do know what they are. But anywho, I brought the fish over. I put them in the tank. Everything was good, and I guess I didn't count how many fish I had, the adults, and there was one more than what I thought I had, and that one was left in a cave inside one of these buckets. What's going on, Canestio Valley Cichlids? How you doing, David? And I forgot about it because I mean there's nothing in there except caves, right? Unless I need the caves, why should I be pulling out the caves? So anyways, today I needed some caves to set up for these guys, like here, okay? What's going on, Vincent? So what I did was I was going through the bucket that the caves were in to grab a cave. I wasn't even going through. I just went and put my hand in the bucket and grabbed a cave out of it. And I noticed something from the corner of my eye. I noticed a fish in the bucket, and or not even a fish, but a little bit of movement. And what's going on, Christina? So I kind of noticed something like a little movement, and I looked closely into the bucket, and then I saw like the spots, and I recognized it. It was in the like early morning, like around 6 o'clock in the morning. It was dark and stuff in that room too, so it wasn't like a lot of light was happening or whatever. And but I saw it, you know what I mean? And like she was like, it was a female. It's my only female of the species, at least as far as I can tell. There's 2 males and her and like 2 other fish that are a little larger. I'm not 100% sure what they are. One could be a female, one could be a male. I'm not 100% sure. But anywho, I found her in there. The water was smelling like really bad. It was like disgustingly bad smelling because it's been sitting and there was muck and gunk and everything, and there was no aeration, there was no filtration, there was nothing happening in the bucket. 2.5 weeks it's been sitting in that bucket by itself, and it didn't die. I mean, it would have died today, I think, or tomorrow if I had left it. So I saw it, I picked it up, and I moved it into a tank real quickly. And she was very grateful, like the whole day. Like every time I came by the glass, she came up and like she came to the front of the tank and looked at me. You know what I mean? She knew, like somewhere inside that tiny little brain, there is some consciousness that they have some memory of things. And she definitely knew that I saved her life today, and so she was very happy about that. I mean, it's my fault that she was in there to begin with because I should have checked. And so I panicked and I checked all the buckets and all the caves that are outside, and I made sure there was no other fish trapped anywhere else because I would hate to be responsible for something like that, and you know what I mean? I wouldn't want to be in that situation, so I wouldn't want to put another creature through anything that I wouldn't myself want to go through. So definitely happy I found her alive because I don't want to add any more deaths to the death toll. You know, it hasn't been bad, but like I don't want to lose any fish, you know. So that's what's going on over there. Set up this tank here today, just getting some plants in here and stuff just for holding. Need to get this out of the bucket. This was in a bucket by itself, so I need to get that. There's some baby fish in there too, but in here we have a lot of stuff going on. This is one of my shrimp colonies. One did die. Okay. What's going on, Daniel? But everybody else is doing great. And what I want to show you guys is there are baby fish in here. There's a whole bunch. There's also CPDs, I think. No, there are no CPDs in here, but there are baby fish. Maybe baby CPDs. I don't know what the babies are, but the fish in this tank are Pygmaeus corridoras at the moment, but the moss in here came from, and the tank itself was my CPD tank. And I think the babies are CPDs. I'm not 100% sure. There's one right there. I don't know if you can see it, but by the filter tube. Here, let me try to zoom in. Can you see it? Right there. You see it? See? There's a whole bunch. And there's a lot of life in here. And I don't know if you guys can see that little baby, but it's cute as hell. I think it's a CPD. I'm not 100% sure, but it's a really pretty fish. At that size, they're super cute still. Tiny. Catfish are pretty tough. What's going on, David? Good luck. Good luck, David. What's going on, Alishan? So that's that tank. Empty tank. Ready for fish, I guess. I can fill it up more. There's plants, there's some caves. I'm probably going to put my 280s in here. Haven't decided 100%, but I think that's where they're going to go. So I need to get a filter in here, get them all set up. Another empty tank with the filter. Another tank with the no filter, but you know, I just got to fill it up and get a filter in there, and I can put some fish in. Angelfish breeding tanks. More angelfish breeding tanks. My cousin's platinum pairs, the Altums. They're doing great. They're super happy. I added some more angels in here just to keep them company, and that's gotten them a lot more comfortable. They've been hiding for the last few days. Every time I came in here, they panicked and they spooked quite a bit. So what's going on, Goji? How you doing, Daniel? I want to give Daniel a huge shout out. Actually, there's about 20 tanks in the backyard, all donated by Daniel. Some of them do need some work. That's why they're sitting in the backyard. But there's a couple that are already in the house set up and stuff. And Danny's the person that brought all those for me. And he's bringing some more tanks today from Montreal. So he's been driving there, picking up tanks and bringing them. So huge shout out to Danny for doing that, for Daniel for doing that. Also, thank you so much, Daniel, for helping me move the couches and stuff. And going and picking up Jamie, you know, like halfway to Peterborough. And like every other thing that you've been doing all this entire time. So thank you so much. Huge shout out to Daniel, the Goji. And what's going on, Eric? And also Sandy. Sandy's been checking up on me every single day to make sure I'm eating and I'm sleeping well and I'm not overstressing myself and I'm taking breaks. So huge shout out to Sandy Diamond for doing that as well. 20-gallon long, 2 medium, or 1 large sponge filter. What do you suggest? Up to you, actually, because a long tank, you could do 2 small ones in both corners if you really want to. Depending on what you're going to keep in there, how many fish you're going to keep in there, you know, you might need to have the second one. But if it's just a couple of fish, you know what I mean, it wouldn't matter. Water circulates and you know, all that good jazz. So 1 large sponge filter should be good enough also. Again, it depends on what you're going to keep in there and how heavily stocked it's going to be and how much food you're going to put in. That makes a huge difference also. Like, I mean, a lot of you guys really, I don't know if you know this, but when you bring new fish home, that's the one thing I recommend not doing is, especially if your tank is not well established yet, don't feed as much. You know what I mean? If you have some fish in there, don't feed them every single day. Maybe feed them every 3rd or 4th day for the first 2 weeks. And that's going to help establish the cycle of the filters slowly, and at the same time it's not going to overstress by creating any spikes, especially ammonia or nitrite spikes, you know, so that's something to keep in mind. Too large it is. Go ahead, that's good. And man's in the spaceship. Yep. But thanks, Colin, and thank you, Sandy. And yes, don't forget to hit the like button. So that's what's going on. What's my favorite? Christina wants to know what's my favorite size tank for breeding. Depends on what I'm breeding. If I'm breeding angelfish, definitely like tall tanks. You know, something like this. These are great for breeding angelfish. This is like a rare size tank. It's a 25 tall or 20 tall. I'm not 100% sure how much water volume it is. I think it's a 20 tall. but it's a footprint of a 10-gallon, you know. So it's a small footprint and it's really tall. So you can keep a pair of angelfish in here, pair of discus in here. They're great for breeding discus, for angels, whatnot. These other tanks here, these 15 longs, they're great for like breeding blue rams. You can have 2 pairs on both sides, put a divider in the middle. That's what I used to do. You know, depending on what you're breeding. If I'm breeding something small like a celestial pearl Daniel, I would probably prefer like a 2.5-gallon tank for that, depending on how many pairs I have or whatnot. If I have like 10, 12 pairs, then maybe a 5.5-gallon. But if it's just like, you know, 10 fish and I'm only breeding a pair, then I would probably prefer 2.5-gallon small tanks, you know. And you don't need a lot of space for certain fish. Like depending on what you're breeding, keeping them in a smaller tank sometimes is beneficial, because then the fish don't have too much space to run around and the females don't have too much area to get away from the males that are trying to breed with them, you know, whatnot. But like if you're keeping cichlids, for example, you might want to have space for the female to get away and hide, so you not need to consider all those things. So like I said earlier, again, it depends 100% on what you're breeding. So yeah, no more questions. And Eric, what's up? Hello from New York. Hello from Toronto. Hope you guys are all having a great Sunday. Hope everybody's having a great weekend. It's going to be our long weekend next weekend. I'm working every day this week, finally working a 5-day week, so I'm pretty happy about that. I don't have COVID test anymore, so no days off in the middle of the week. Pretty happy about that. I'm working 2 night shifts, Thursday and Friday, so it's going to be fun. That's good, you know. What can I say? Eventually, yes, I'm splitting them up. There's like 40 fish in a tank. That's not healthy. They're gonna go into at least 3 separate tanks. I'm guessing 2 or 3 probably, most likely. But I'm not doing that anytime soon. I'm setting everything else up because their tank is pretty much set up. I just need to put air for the Madden filter, and once I have air in the Madden filter, things will be good. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time live streaming today. I will show some more fish and fish tanks. Where am I located? Toronto, Canada. Just north of you, for 2 hour, 2.5, depending on where in New York you are. It's about a 2.5 hour drive to where I am in Toronto. This room is really loud, so let's move on. I did something smart here, which is I can switch the lights off if I wanted to with one switch. And I only have one light on the top row, so I've been flipping it around. I'll show you guys. And that's the atoms in the light. In the light, there's the Pleco tank. A lot of the Plecos I had in the fish room are all in this tank together right now. Let me try to get the light on those guys real quickly. There we go. There we go. Again, 2 power head filters. This does have a hang on the back, just in case. I have 2 or 3 different kinds of Corridoras in here. 4 or 5 different kinds of Plecos. There's almost 100 Plecos in here. But if you looked in right now, you wouldn't see any of them, see? They're all hiding. Or you can kind of see some, the tails. So if you are a Pleco keeper, this is what you can expect. So many Corridoras. Yeah, there's about 25 Corridoras in here, but you can't really see all of them because most of them are hiding or sleeping. I don't know what's going on today. It's really hot in here, so that's why a lot of the fish are less active than normal. They're conserving their energy. So I did move some of these guys and girls downstairs. I left some for mom and dad. They do, right? And so that's there. Once they breed again, I think she's getting ready. I will remove the rest of the fry, and I need to have these guys on protective baby raising mode, because anytime I have a spawn, they're the surrogate parents right now, the designated surrogate parent tank. So these 2 are raising all my baby angels right now. Okay, because I'm going to work full time. I don't have time to take care of baby fish and feed them on a schedule. So I only feed them in the morning and in the evening, and on days I go to work, and maybe one time at night if I'm you know, there's enough time for it. And but they seem to do a really good job, and because they're in a tank, I can put a little bit extra food every day, and the filter definitely takes care of all that, and it's really good that way. So I'm really happy, and I'm grateful for these two fish. They're I bred these like a few years back, and they're exceptional parents. And they're also the mom and dad of a lot of the fish I have here in the fish room, or some of the fish I have in the fish room. For example, these guys, they're the mom and dad of these two. They're the mom and dad of this fish. These are from a different pair. Related, they're cousins, but they're the mom and dad of some of the other fish in here as well. Angelfish breeding pairs, breeding pair, breeding pair, breeding pair, and the next breeding pair. Empty tank. I have some growouts in there, so we're not going to spend a lot of time looking at them. Some smaller angels, well, not small, but you know, don't have a place to put them, so I just stuck them in there, and they're doing great in there. So far, so good. I did lose one fish in that tank, one angel, so I got to figure out. I got to deworm everybody. I think that's what happened to her. Pair of angels. They're getting ready to lay eggs, actually. Let me try to get them on camera. Here we go. And yeah, she's getting ready. So I put a plate in there for them yesterday, and the glass is dirty, obviously. I haven't cleaned it, but there we go. I'm turning around. Let me get the lights on in here for you guys and girls, so you can see some fish. There's only one light in here also. Oh, there's two lights in here. Okay, I did set up a second light in here. There we go. Some super red bristlenose babies. They're long fin, really nice. There's a lot of them in there too. Try to get them out. Okay, relax, bud. There we go. There we go. I promise you there's more than what you can see. There's like probably 10 times more than what you can see. They're all under the leaves. I don't know why, but they like to hide under the leaves, and it doesn't seem to bother anybody. They're doing great, so I'm not crying, I'm not complaining. I am happy. Moving along. So this is one of the fish. This kind of looking fish was one of the fish that was stuck in the cave by itself in the bucket. These spotted ones. It's a Hypentestrus contridens. That's what they are, and I have 5 of them in here. And some of their offspring are also in here. They did spawn for me, and I did find babies in the tank, so I was very happy about that. And yeah, so that's what's going on in this tank. There's German rams in here. This is just a holding tank. All these are holding tanks. All the fish in the fish room from the old fish room are in these tanks. Not these tanks here, but the tanks we just looked at, and these ones. And then I have my other pair of angels. Again, these guys are a year and a few months old. We just looked at the mom and dad on the other side. They produce these reds, so I'm pretty happy about that. A really nice quality fish, and I'm really grateful to God for having fish like this, you know. Okay, moving along. There's tanks everywhere that need to be set up and stuff. Let's go look at the new fish we just got, so that we can see how they look, how they're doing. Hopefully they're still alive. Yeah, they're still alive. Oh, they've migrated to a higher area in the water column. Oh wow, look at that. They're nice. There's a lot of them too. So these guys are gonna be going to pet stores in the coming weeks. Some of them will be going to pet store this week, the largest ones. And if anybody's interested, we do have these for sale. I don't have a price on them yet, but if you're interested, send me a message and we can figure that out. I can send you a price once I talk to my partner, because the fish do not belong to me, these particular ones. He bred these. But so he'll set the price on them, and we will sell them locally here in Toronto, Greater Toronto area, as well as all the pet stores that we sell to will have these available from us. So you can go to the pet store and pick them up, or you can come to us directly and pick them up here in GTA somewhere, in Brampton if you want to come pick it up, or I can also drop off, you know, in GTA for a small fee. Or if you want to do Uber Connect, we can do that. We've been doing that. You know, like a lot of people like that, because it's you know, you just pay for the fish, and you pay for the Uber, and I pack the fish, put it in a bag, call the Uber, then Uber comes and picks it up and drops it off at your house. It's pretty straightforward, you know. So what's the name? The power heads. So these are Penplax, I believe. So this particular filters I like to use are Penplax Cascade. They are power head filters. So they have a power head on the top, and then they have a filter on the bottom. Okay, they're essentially in tank filters. So they're like sit in the tank. They take up space in your tank. So it's not ideal in that context, but for my applications they work really well because it provides the water movement that I need for my plecos when I need it, as well as additional filtration. So I always have a sponge going in my pleco tanks when once they're set up. Obviously, a lot of the tanks are not fully set up yet, but at that point, these would just serve as power heads. But it does have a decent sized sponge in each one, like about that big. It's a square, a nice little block of sponge, and you can put some biomedia on the top if you want. And it takes up all the gunk out of the water column, and then filters the water pretty well, and has beneficial bacteria in the sponge, and it works really great. Yeah, if you pay for it, honestly, not a bad idea. We'll message me, okay? We'll figure this out. Let's not divulge any information beyond that point. But I think it could happen. It'll be like a $350 Uber, but I think it could happen. I think it could happen. But there'll probably be some custom stuff that we'd have to deal with. Okay. Excuse me, I'm really tired. I woke up at like 5 in the morning today. I'm on the early morning schedule because I'm starting early tomorrow and Tuesday. So I've been setting myself up. I've been going to bed early anyways. I've been really tired. Like yesterday, I fell asleep with a beer in one hand, iPad in the other hand, and like this, like literally sitting down, like not here, but like against the wall in my bedroom. And I woke up like 3 hours later with the beer sitting on the ground with my hand still on it, and the iPad falling off my hand onto the bed. You know what I mean? And so I was just sitting there, fall asleep, and I woke up and finished my beer and went back to bed. So that was fun this morning. But I woke up at 5 after that, early in the morning, and I've been up since then. So pretty tired. Leah made a live stream finally. No, you know what? That's my special skill. This has happened more than once where I have fallen asleep with the beer in my hand, and the beer never seems to spill. So that's a special skill. I should put that on my resume. Does not spill beer while sleeping. When I'm awake, it's a different story. You know what I mean? I spill beer like not all the time, but I do the odd time spill beer. But if I fall asleep with the beer in my hand, it's always like I wake up and there's a beer sitting beside me somewhere, and it's like so close, like my hand's like right beside it, or my foot is right beside it. But for some reason, I have yet to spill beer while sleeping. So. And I do fall asleep with the beer quite often, so I should put that on my resume as a special skill. It's a sin to spill beer, yes. So I guess I can't sin with beer, with spilling beer. That's a good thing, Put the beer on my head. Nope. Yeah, nonstop. You're right. Maybe we found a loop. Okay, see, here's what I want to do. I want to try it out with some cheap fish. I don't think I would want to send anything expensive, just because, you don't know what could happen, right? Like, the guy's trying to go across the border, and, something could happen to the fish. They could get confiscated or held back in customs for whatever reason, right? They're pets, so it's not like an issue, but... Oh, I'm tired. Holy. It's only like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm like, it's 5. Nonstop sent a picture. Okay, we're going to look at Nonstop's fish room, okay? Because, here, let me try to get this on properly. There we go. This is Jonathan's fish room. Wow. Immaculate. I really like these carpets he has going on. This morning he sent me a picture, and I almost went to Home Depot. Like I told him, I'm like, bro, you're about to make me spend money. Like they look nice. I need to have that in my fish room also. And he also has a water change setup. I don't know if you can see it, but to the right of the screen, there's his RO unit is attached to it, and the water change buckets. The whole thing is on a cart. It can be wheeled around through the fish room, wherever he needs to move it to. So that's a really cool setup. So huge shout out to Jonathan for doing that. And super cool fish room, very clean, very organized, very beautiful, you know. And the tanks look immaculate. I mean, I'm looking at like today. I actually wanted to use one of his pictures as my live stream thing because I was going through pictures to find a screen cap, like a title page, because obviously I can't take a picture of the fish that's in a bucket. That's not gonna look nice on the title page. So I was going through it to find a good picture, and I saw a bunch of pictures that Jonathan had sent me, and I was like, oh, these are nice, and I'm like, oh, they're Jonathan's tanks. That's why they're so nice. not one of my tanks, but my tanks, I'm you know, I'm not bad. It's just that like there's always like, so I personally am never happy with the setups that I have. I just say it's good enough. That's my thing. It's good enough. Let's put the fish in and move on to the next thing because there's so much work to be done. But yeah, Johnson's tanks are real nice. So congratulations, buddy. You're doing great. Also, forgot to tell you guys and girls, I scored a tank on the side of the road. When I went to pick up the fish, I had to drive to pick up the fish, like about 10-15 minutes from here. So I drove to pick up the fish. As I was driving past this giant dumpster that was sitting in front of somebody's house, so they're moving or they're renovating or something's happening in their house. And you know how those giant bins, like the big dumpster bins that you can rent, like the really big ones, they're like 15 foot by 10 foot and like 8 feet tall, like a big dumpster bin. And I don't know how I noticed it in the bin, but the bin was full to the top, and the tank was sitting on top of something, you know, like at the edge of the bin. And so I saw the tank, and in my head, I made a note of where it was, and I said to myself, when I'm coming back, I'm gonna stop there and see if the tank is intact, and I'm gonna pick it up. It's a 10-gallon, and I picked it up, and it's in the trunk of my car, so I might have to put that into the house before I leave for work tomorrow morning. So I might just do that tonight before I actually even go to bed. But here, let me try to show you what the tank is. So there it is. See, it's in the trunk of my car. Found a 10-gallon. It needs a little bit of cleaning and TLC, but the glue looks good. It's not a problem. You know what I mean? What's going on, Kim Lee? How you doing? Malik does need a nanny poo. Malik needs more than a nanny poo. I'm starting work at like 7 in the morning tomorrow downtown. I need to be at my old house for 6 because I want to park my car there. I don't want to pay for parking downtown. I want to park my car in my old house at 6 and then take the train to work for 7. So that's my plan, and which means I have to wake up at like 4 in the morning to take care of the dog, make sure all the fish are good, feed the baby fish that I need to feed, and drive downtown from here in traffic because it's going to be traffic. Well, actually maybe 5:30ish. Might not be that much traffic, but that's like people are going crazy in the morning trying to get to work. I mean, I hate the pre-rush hour rush where people are like booking down the highway like 140 miles an hour and they're like zoom zoom zoom, right? And like I have nothing against them going that fast when there's not a lot of traffic, but when there's like traffic, moving traffic, you know, where cars are there on the road and, you know, everybody's trying to do the same thing, nobody's going to get anywhere. Somebody's going to get into an accident. Like last night I was driving here and I witnessed two almost accidents. One was both on the highway too, and like if any of them was right in front of me, the cars that were in front of me, if any of them crashed into each other, like, you know, I might not be talking to you right now here today. So I had my dog in the car. She was sitting in the front seat. I'm driving really defensively and safely, you know, keeping 8 car lengths of distance from the front car in front of me, you know, looking ahead and stuff like that. And these guys are like trying to cut through lanes and stuff like that. Almost got into a crash. The first was the worst one because the guy, he was trying to like switch lanes, and he almost crashed into the guy that was at his blind spot. And and it's crazy, you know what I mean? And I saw the whole thing. I was behind them. I always like stay behind the traffic. Like so if I see people like trying to they're driving in front of me, I try to give like a good 5 to 7 car lengths of space uh, behind them so that I'm in a safe distance where I can safely stop my car without my dog flying out through the windscreen. You know what I mean? Which is something I don't want to do. So I'm being very safe. I have fish in the back of the car. I had the aquarium, so like whatever. Anyways, just wanted to talk about that quickly. Uh, Rusty became a member. Or become a member. There you go. Signed headshot. What's going on, EST 1992? And yes, it's true. Like, I mean, nobody thinks about the fact that you're not gonna get anywhere any faster by speeding. You might make 2 minutes on the clock, right? You might save 2 minutes of your drive time. So yeah, you might. But if you crash, you're not getting nowhere. You might not be even alive after that point, especially if you crash on the highway at like 110, 120 kilometers an hour or faster. Like a lot of these people are going at like a 140, you know what I mean, which is about 65 miles an hour, you know what I mean, or 70 miles an hour, not 70, less than 70, 65 miles maybe. And 65 miles an hour, you crash into something, things are going to be bad. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you might not die, but you might get severely injured. There's also a chance of fatality, so it's something to keep in mind, you know? What's going on, GB? And what's going on, Rusty? How you doing? Rusty the legend. Okay, yeah, you know what? I'm like, I don't know exactly where the big house is. It's supposed to be like really close to where I live. It's like walking distance apparently. I'll find out where it is. It's so close. So yeah, we can totally do that. What's going on, George? How you doing, bud? Good day to you, sir. Daniel, what's up? Oh, I don't doubt it. Toronto's the 4th largest city in North America, so we're not that far behind from California. It's not as bad I would hope so, but I mean, considering that there's so much people living in the mega city and all cramped right next to each other and everybody drives their cars, it is what it is. Steiner, thank you so much for the super chat as always. All day, discus love all day, buddy. We're gonna get some discus in the house. There's already baby discus growing out at my partner's facility, so they're all gonna be growing out here. So I will be able to show you guys and girls the discus that we get into the house, as well as I want to pick up a couple of pairs. I just need to get on top of my finances. And oh, Steiner's been a member for 12 months, a whole year. Wow. Oh my God, Steiner, thank you so much. That's amazing, mate. Thank you so much, and for all the super chats that you do also. So Steiner, thank you so much. I mean, I don't know how else to thank you. Like, I'm gonna dedicate a tank for you, buddy. Oh, you know what? I have something for you. I have something to show you. So let's go see that real quickly, and then we can sign off. So let's look at the Rams for one last time. What kind of discus? So I personally like the red with the blue rim. I think they're called the red rose. That's my favorite. They look quite like a wild fish, and they have a lot of red on them. I like the blue rim on them, and that's my favorite, one of my favorite discus. I also like the snake skins. They're also one of my favorites. The pigeon bloods are also one of my favorites. I guess all the discus in the world are my favorite discus now. So I can't pick. I like all of them, but if I were to pick one kind, I would say the red ring, the blue ring reds, or the red rose are probably up there. The spotted wilds are actually probably my most favorite out of every discus in the world. The wild spotted type. So I really like those. I mean, we have so many tanks now. Between the two of us, there's about 100 tanks in the house. And there's about 20 sitting outside for repairs. So I'm assuming we will have enough tank space to have many different kinds of discus pairs. And there's specific discus breeding tanks here as well that are dedicated for discus breeding, like, or designed for discus breeding, I would say. And there's also like all the grow out tanks are designed for growing out discus. They're perfect for disc. They came from Canada's premier discus breeder for the longest time. He's been keeping discus since 1955. My dad was like 4 years old when this guy started keeping discus. You know what I mean? Like he knows his stuff. Like I mean, he was talking about um, how people used to keep heated aquariums in Europe and Russia and stuff using hot coal. So you heat up the coal, you know, it's burning coal, you put it underneath the tank somehow and heat up the tank. I mean, the amount of work required to heat the tank that way must be like so exhausting that the people that kept fish back then are the true MVPs. You know what I mean? So anytime I meet somebody that's like 80 plus, that's been keeping fish for a long time, I really respect them. And I like try to soak as much knowledge as possible because these are the pioneers of the hobby that have led us to this point where we have all this equipment and all these gizmos and gadgets and stuff. You know what I mean? That's why I always, and Father Fish is not 80. He's probably in his 50s or 60s. And you know, young man, but he's been keeping fish since he was, I think, 3 or 4 or 5 years old also. And he remembers his mom, I think, was keeping fish before him, and you know what I mean. And so he has a lot of that old school knowledge, and that's why I respect him, and that's why I always like to watch his live streams and stuff. And I always learn something from his live streams. I mean, there's not one live stream from Father Fish that I don't learn something. And another person I like watching is Fish Easy, Michael. Again, like you learn so much. Like he doesn't like to admit it, but he's a master breeder. Okay, like he has so much experience when it comes to fish and such a wealth of knowledge. And like every time I talk to him, there's something that I can learn from him. You know what I mean? So like I'm really excited to watch his live streams. There's always a lot to learn. And stay tuned because I think he's making a video about microworms and other live food for your baby fish and all that good jazz. And he has an entire ram breeding step-by-step videos and series, I guess. And so there's a lot of amazing content that Michael produces for his channel also. So channel is Fish Easy, and also Father Fish, you know, huge shout out to him as well. I learned so much from these individuals. And so coming back to the point, anytime I have the ability to talk to somebody that's been keeping fish in the 50s and 60s or before that, I do, you know, or even 60s, 70s, 80s, I learn from them, you know what I mean? Because these are the people that didn't have the equipment that we have and still kept fish, you know what I mean? Like I remember my uncles used to say, they used to laugh when I talk about, you know, air pumps and stuff. Like I always, even me, like I didn't have air pumps when I was a kid. Like most of my fish lived outside in tanks and ponds and like, you know, holding tanks and stuff that my dad built for me as a kid. And like none of them had filters, none of them had air pumps, none of them had anything. They just had plants, they had water, and they had sunlight. That was it. So sunlight keeps the plants healthy. Plants eat all the nitrates and, you know, whatever, and ammonia and nitrites all get eaten up by the plants. And there's also obviously gravel in the tank or sand or something in the bottom of it, which holds beneficial bacteria, which has a biological cycle. The one trick I learned keeping fish without filters and anything like that, just plants, water, and fish, is that you cannot overcrowd your tanks. That's the trick here. If you don't overcrowd, it can be done outside and even inside. Like I mean, I have fish. I set up filters for all the tanks today, but there was a couple of tanks that didn't have anything going in them except the air stone, and the fish were doing great. The only reason was there was only 2 fish in each tank or 3 fish. If there's no filter and there's 3 fish in a tank this size, right? As long as the air is moving in or some kind of movement's happening, nothing happens to them. It's a large volume of water. With this amount of fish, you definitely need to have a filter because there's a lot of fish here right now, right? That's why I have that filter. I'm gonna probably set up this sponge filter and this little sponge filter. If I can find the air pump that is not being used, I will definitely set these up today, right now, before I go to bed. But yeah, so that's what I wanted to show you guys here, and we're gonna go downstairs and we're gonna show Steiner what I want to show him because I'm really happy about this thing. It's a display actually that somebody made with discus. They're not live, they're wooden discus, but I think it's super cool. So let's go see that. Oh, It's gonna be a little bit difficult to film, but we'll try our best to get it out and film it. Okay, so what I want to show you guys and girls is, and then we'll look at the baby fish that I moved myself today. And don't look at my box spring, it's behind me. I haven't set up my bed yet. Okay, all right, let's do this so we can see what we're doing. I want to show you guys this tank here. I'm going to move it over slowly and carefully onto, okay, safely. All right, let me get the lid off real quickly so you can see it. There we go. Okay, so this is a display made by I believe Bob Wilson made this for Cincinnati's great Johnny Bench, waiting for the discus catch. So I'm not 100% sure if Johnny Bench made this display for Bob Wilson or if Bob Wilson made it for Johnny Bench, but this is really old. This was sitting in Bob's house when we went to move the tanks over. They're big, eh? Look, my hand. So they're big. Oh, okay. Let me not break this. It is quite modular. Everything is well thought out. You know, even when we moved it, it was great. It moved well, no issues. You know. The fish did fall, but we fixed that issue. Oh, there we go. Just gotta. There we go. It's a gorgeous little setup, right? I figured you would appreciate this. When I first saw it also, I thought about you actually. When I was at Bob's house, I didn't know we were gonna get this, okay? I thought Bob was gonna keep this. Because I mean, it's gorgeous, look at it, right? Like, I'm sorry about the reflections and stuff, but like, look at that thing, it's gorgeous. There's 5 fish in there. It's real wood. The fish are also made out of wood. So they're carved, okay, by hand, I'm guessing, painted individually. They all look different. They're really pretty. This one's really pretty. I really like this one. They come off the wood. There. See? Gorgeous. On both sides. So you can move them around. I like that about this display because then I can, you know, like do this kind of stuff. There we go. There we go. There we go. Right? And it's super cool. So I didn't think we were going to inherit this one, but Bob was nice enough to give this tank to us. So let me put it back to its own place so it doesn't fall off over this rickety spot I moved it to. We have to find a place for it and set her up. Okay? Just want to show that to Steiner real quickly and to everybody else too. The giant 125, I could sleep in this tank. It's huge, so big. It's the biggest tank in the house, so really happy about that one. And so this is the wall of display tanks. I mean, close the curtain so the sun is not in the frame and ruin it. Okay, there's Princess Peach in her happy couch. This is her happy couch. She already took a bath today, didn't you? Who took a bath today? You did. Very good. Okay. All right, I have no fish in here, just plants and stuff. So I put some water. There's a light on there that's not on right now, but it will come on tonight. So these are some of the baby angelfish I moved over. This is the last thing we're going to be looking at today, and then I'm going to sign off because I do have to do a couple more things tonight before I go to bed, and also get ready for work tomorrow morning. The 125 is fat, yes. Discus in space, right? I really liked it. What's going on, Cassie Laji? Don't do what for carbon monoxide poisoning? I don't like carbon monoxide, so let's not do that. I do have a carbon monoxide detector in the house. My mom bought it for me. That's one of the first things she bought when I moved from my parents' house to downtown. This was like a long time ago, like about 20 years ago now. So my mom bought me a carbon monoxide detector and you know, like smoke detectors and all that stuff, because the apartment I got initially didn't have any of it. So you know, it was like a rickety old apartment. It's all I could afford, right? Like, come on now. It's not like I'm rich or anything. So you know, at that time I was super poor. So I barely could afford to pay rent, let alone buy carbon monoxide detectors and all this stuff. And when you're that poor, the places you rent are also gonna be subpar. Like they're not gonna be like the top of the line apartments, right? So the people just want you in, pay you rent on time. That's it. If you die from gas inhalation or carbon monoxide inhalation, they just, you know, insurance, not their problem, right? Next tenant comes in and same thing happens again. So I was in one of those rickety apartments, and my mom bought me one, so I still have it. It's not plugged in yet in this house, but I do have it here somewhere. So I'm gonna plug it in the next couple of days, and everything's getting set up slowly, you know. So, but yes, do not do anything that puts your life or health or the well-being of the loved ones you have in the house at risk. Yes, sir. Carbon monoxide alarms are essential. I don't know how many fish are in here, but there's about 3 ounces of fish, because I like I'm good with like uh, feeling something and measuring its weight or guessing its weight. I can usually measure, like, you know, quarter ounces and half ounces by just feel of it. Like not measure, but like I can say, okay, that feels like a quarter ounce. You know what I mean? And usually I'm pretty accurate with that stuff. The amount of fish in here is about 3 ounces worth, because I caught 3 netfuls. Each one was about an ounce. The third one was actually small, a little smaller, so maybe 2 and 3/4 ounces of worth of fish in there, whatever that size fish are, you know. So that's what we got in there. Let's try to get a close up. There we go. Try to look at some of these guys and girls. They're really pretty. They're from like 4 or 5 different spawns, raised together by my surrogate pair. There's platinums in here. There's platinum red hybrids in here. There's red kois and you know, just regular. These are all red kois. I can tell already. See, that one's gonna be nice. Anyone that has black on them are gonna be super red. I can tell already. All the white longfin ones are gonna be platinums, or you know, platinum red hybrids. So they're gonna have koi genes, but they all came out mostly platinum. So that was great. Really good, successful spawn. Joe says, I used to measure quarter ounces and half ounces too. I just honestly, like things like that, I don't know how, but like I have a sense of things like that. Like even like when I was in college, I could like they you know, I did audio engineering, so they would play a tone and ask you to guess what frequency it is, and I usually was able to guess like almost the exact frequency. So it's a pretty good gift to have, you know what I mean? Because I don't know, it's not something conscious, it's not something I think about, like, oh yeah, you know, like I hear a tone, I'm like, you know, whatever, but I can hear it, and then when I hear the tone, I can gauge and see where it is comparatively to the tones that I can recognize at specific, you know, in the scale, for example, and then I know what frequencies they are, so I can now, you know, kind of guess to what frequency this new tone is, you know, whatever. Same with weight. Like if I feel something's weight, I can usually say, oh yeah, that feels like a half ounce, or that feels like 2 ounces, you know, feels like 3 ounces, or a pound, or whatever, right? And I don't know, it's a weird thing that happens with me. Anyways, so these are here. I'm really happy I have a filter in there. You know, not a lot of flow in the filter, but that's the air pump I found. It's a tiny little guy. It's what we got, and we're making do with it. And the fish seem to be doing great. All right, I'm gonna sign off because my internet installation guy is here. Let me actually answer this real quickly. Hello?
I'm a service technician. I have a call for the internet.
Yes, I'm here waiting for you.
Yeah. I just parked my car, so I will be at you in 1 minute.
Okay, are you afraid of dogs?
First I will check from the outside. Then
Okay,
I will think.
I will put her in.
Alright, yeah.
Okay, I will see you in a minute, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. I feel like I'm in Little India. I'm not even joking. Anyways, I love you guys and girls. Thank you so much for being here with me through this entire journey. Everybody that's supportive of this process, watching the streams, messaging me, commenting, everything you guys are doing. I'm really appreciative of you guys and girls. And I will see you soon. Hope you guys and girls all have a great weekend and a great week this coming week. And happy early Victoria Day. It's the Queen's birthday, I think, next weekend. So we're celebrating in Canada. Is it the Queen's birthday? I think that's what Victoria Day is, right? Yeah, that is. So pretty happy about it. It's not this queen, it's her mom, but yeah, we're celebrating it. Really nice, pretty happy about it. I love the queen. So thank you so much. I love you all. I will see you soon. Let me answer the last bit of questions. I used to measure. Okay. Yes, carbon monoxide is essential. And a fire, I have a fire extinguisher here as well. And here, let me show you guys something real quickly. Look at our discus posters. These are all from Bob Wilson. These are like super old too. There's another one on the other wall that's not visible. Oh, I wanted to say real quickly, this entire wall, the top portion of the wall, this is going to be the shadow gallery, okay? So all these tanks, there's going to be more tanks going across, okay? They're all going to be displays. On top of the tanks, the wall space is dedicated for Sandy Diamond. All her artwork that she's sending me is going to be all placed up here above the tanks. Okay, the tanks are going to be pushed forward so I can access the back when I need to move an art piece or add a new art piece. But Sandy, look how much wall space you have. This is all you, sweetheart. All this wall space. So whatever artwork you send me, this is going to be all her artwork. My girlfriend's painting is going to go here that she made for me. My friend from the store downstairs, her painting is going to go somewhere here. More paintings over there. There's more space on that wall. We're gonna hang some stuff. There's a lot of I have a lot of friends who are my dog. Oh, she's right here. There she is. And then I did set up this stand here, just holding. Oh, there's more tanks here. See, there's more tanks. I set up. These need water and filtration, but there's life in them too. There's Pygmaeus chorus in this tank. There's Pygmaeus chorus breeding in this tank. I need to put some more water in there before I go to bed. There's shrimp in all three tanks. The shrimp in the corner tank are not doing as well because there's planaria, but these two are good colonies, so I'm hoping for good breeding out of these. There's some random tetras in there too, and so yeah, pretty excited. This is gonna be our 10-gallon holding rack. Right now it's holding not garbage, but like stuff that came from the house. This is all dog stuff. All four of these boxes. Her clothes, her blanket, her sweaters, extra leashes. I think one of them is her toys. One of these ones here. I'm not sure which one it is. There's probably toys in all of them. There's more dog stuff. Her other collar and all that stuff. Her baby collar, I guess. Or this, she can't fit this anymore. She's gotten fat. Anyways, I'm gonna go because I have the Rogers guy outside doing his thing. I gotta go get him. Thank you so much. I love you all. I'll see you soon. God bless you. Hope you all have a great weekend and stay blessed. I love you all. God bless you. Bye. What's going on, Lunatic? I gotta go though. I got somebody waiting, okay? Good night. Bye.